Shalom, shalom, shalom. Let me make sure this is members only, man. Let me make sure this is members only. I praise to the Most High. Let me make sure this is members only. This is only for the members. I only, only for the members. Only for the members. Only for the members. Members only. All praise to the Most High. We're back. We're back. Members only live. Members only. Where's the members? All praise to the Most High. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We about to get this thing going in a little bit. Let me share this thing in the Discord. Let me share this thing in the Discord. Let me share this thing in the Discord. All praises, all praises. Make sure the members in here. All praises to the Most High God. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back with another one. This ain't Torah After Dark, but it's another one. It's another one, all right? So this is a special video for the members. For the members, for the big members. All praises, man. So we got to get this thing started. We about to get this thing started. All praises to the Most High, man. All praises. So, if you don't know, let me put this on the screen real fast. If you don't know, Eli in the building. All praise to the Most High for Eli in the building. Eli in the building. All praise to the Most High. Todah Yah. Todah Yah. Oh, thank you. All praise to the Most High. So, this one is called, this presentation is going to be the Divine Council, the 70 rule. Isabella, close the door. This is going to be the Divine Council, the 70 rulers of the earth, of the nations, right? So we're going to get into this thing. I'm going to wait for some more of the members to get in here. I'm going to wait for some more of the members to get in here. All praise to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. We got Eli in the building. We got LaDonna in the building. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. All praise to the Most High. So, the Divine Council. The Divine Council. The 70 rulers of the nations. And how you, I hope you guys having a good Shabbat. I got my tea. I'm drinking my tea. I'm gonna wait till a couple other members get in here before we start it. But you know, they can always catch it later. They can always catch it later. This is exclusively for the members, right? So the members gonna be able to catch this one later. All right. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. All right. You see, I got my Black American Heritage flag on. Got the Black American Heritage flag back there, you know. You know, the Camp Israelites would say the Tribe of Judah flag. And Eli, welcome to the membership, by the way. Welcome to the membership, by the way, Eli. I see you, new member in the building. All praise to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All right, so what time is it? All right, we can get this thing started. All right, we can get this thing started. All right, let me put this right here. All right, so before I get started, I want to say this, right? We're going to be talking about the Elohim, right? We're going to be talking about the Elohim. But when we talk about the Elohim, I don't want anybody to get confused with polytheism. This is not polytheism. So we're going to get that clear out the way. This is not polytheism. This is more henotheism. right? And monolatry, henotheism and monolatryism, right? This is what this is, right? And we're gonna see the differences in this slide. So just to get it out the way right now, this is not polytheism. There is only one Yod He Vav He. There is only one Most High God. There is only one God of Israel, right? Get that clear and out the way, right? But let's get this thing going, right? The divine council, the 70 rulers of the nations, right? So this is what this is called. This is what this lecture is about. Let's go to the next slide. All right, I'm gonna move my picture out the way. So let me move this out the way too. So the 70 nations, 70 sons of God that rules over them, the lesser Elohim that rule the nations, right? So these are lesser Elohim. They're not the most high Elohim. They are sons of Yod He Vav He, right? In Genesis 10 lists 70 nations in the table of nations. According to the divine council worldview, that means there are 70 spiritual beings appointed as ruler over those nations, right? So this is where the number 70 comes from, right? If anybody wonder, why is it 70? Why isn't it 80? Why isn't it 90? Why isn't it 100? It's because there are 70 nations in the table of nations in Genesis 10. And each nation was appointed a ruler over them, a divine spiritual ruler over them, right? So this is why there is 70, right? In Deuteronomy 32 verses 8 and 9, it says, when the Most High, and in the Hebrew that's Elyon. So when Elyon gave to the nations, when he separated the children of men, and he set the borders of the people according to the number of the. I stopped that verse right there is because on this right side of the screen, you're going to see 3 different manuscripts, 3 different views about how this verse should be read. So according to the Masoretic text, this verse would read, when he separated the children of men, he set the borders of the people according to the numbers of the sons of Israel. Right? So this is what the Masoretic text reads. The Septuagint says, according to the number of angels of God. The Septuagint says. The Dead Sea Scrolls say, according to the number of the sons of God. So these are the 3 readings. Now, can the children of Israel, can the sons of Israel, are the sons of Israel sons of God? Yes. Are the angels of God sons of God? Yes. So to be absolutely fair and transparent, this Dead Sea Scroll, depending on how you view it, can agree with the Masoretic text, or it could agree to the Septuagint. So just to be fair, right? So in the Masoretic text, here the phrase is sons of Israel. Problem. At the time of Babel's division, Genesis 10 through 11, Israel didn't even exist, which makes this reading historically odd. So back in Genesis 10, how can he separate the nations according to the sons of Israel when the sons of Israel didn't even exist? So that's one reason we know for it to say sons of Israel kind of would be a little off. And also, the sons of Israel, there are only 12 of them. So how can the nations be divided to the number of the sons of Israel if there are more than 12 nations? There are 70 nations. So we know this view couldn't possibly fit for those two reasons. Couldn't possibly fit. And make sure y'all like the live. Make sure y'all thumb up the live. And this couldn't possibly fit. There are more than 12 nations. There's only 12 sons of Israel. And the sons of Israel didn't even exist at the time when the nations were split up. So the Masoretic text worldview could not possibly fit the context of Deuteronomy 32. Now, the Septuagint. Instead of saying sons of Israel, the Septuagint LXX has angels of God, sometimes translated as sons of God. This fits better with the ancient worldview where each nation had a divine being assigned to it, right? Then we get to Deuteronomy 4:19 to 20 and then we're going to get to Daniel 10 and 30, 10, 13, and 20. We're going to get to that later. But if we go to the cultural context of the world at that time period, it was a known thing in the world that nations were divided up with divine beings, right? The Canaanites had a pantheon. They also had 70 nations and 70, but they had 70 sons. We don't get to that. We don't get to the Canaanite pantheon. But this was understood at the time period that the nations were divided to the 70 sons of God. Now, then each people group explained it different, and it looked different, and how they understood it was different. But this was the common understanding, that the nations had been split up between 70 divine beings. Right? And we know angels of God, especially when we get to in Genesis 6, angels of God were sons of the Most High, sons of God, all through the text. So this is why it says angels of God is also translated to sons of God, because the angels of God were the sons of God. Now, when we take the Septuagint worldview into consideration and we combine that with the Dead Sea Scrolls, it's clear that the Dead Sea Scrolls is more in line with the Septuagint, that it's talking about angels or divine beings or malaks, right? So the Qumran reading agrees with the LXX, not the MT. It suggests that the MT's sons of Israel was a later scribal change, possibly to avoid language that implied multiple gods ruling nations, right? So when you start talking about henotheism and monolatry, sometimes people with the wrong mindset, they can start to worship these other gods, and that's going to lead to polytheism. That's going to lead to sin. That's going to lead to corruption. So this is why a lot of scholars say that they changed it to pull further away from polytheism, to not even give people the thought mindset that these gods or these Elohim ruled the nation, because our people kept going after these other gods and worshiping them. So this was kind of like a scribal change to make sure that people don't go off, right? So this is why the scholars say this was a scribal change, in which I can understand it. Because if you start talking about henotheism and monolatry stuff, when other gods is real, people will worship these gods, right? And that's not what we want. But at the end of the day, we have to be honest with the text. Yes, there are real Elohim, there are lesser gods that rule the nations, but we're not supposed to worship them. We only worship one God, right? So look what it says. Summary of variants. Masoretic text, a later edition, a later manuscript, sons of Israel. Septuagint, angels of God. Dead Sea Scrolls, the earlier Hebrew says sons of God. So the Dead Sea Scrolls is the earlier text. So the earlier reading of this text says sons of God. The scholarly consensus, the older reading is sons of God, preserved in the Dead Sea Scrolls and the LXX. The MT likely adjusted it for theological reasons, since sons of God can be misunderstood as polytheism. Because it can be misunderstood as polytheism. So this is why they believe it was likely changed, right? So let's continue. So again, if we read in Deuteronomy 32, this is talking about how the nations were split up according to the sons of God, the angels of God. And Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh portion, or his inheritance, was Israel. We were his portion. He took us for himself. All right, so we're going to get that clear. Let's continue reading. The divine council. So the reason why we have to understand the divine council, because if the other Elohim are not real, who is God in divine council with? If all these Elohim aren't real, aren't real powers, didn't have judgment, didn't have rulership, who is God in this divine council with? So let's read. It says, I said, You are gods. You are Elohim, sons of the Most High, all of you. Nevertheless, like men, you shall die. So stop right there. If these sons of God are these sons of the Most High, who are Elohim, if they were men, why would it say, why would it say, like men, you shall die? So we have a lot of people that try to interpret Psalms 82 as it's talking about human people, human beings, or judges. This is not talking about humans. Because if it was talking about humans, it would not say, like men, you shall die. If you are men, how can you die like men? Only way this makes sense if these were divine beings. And he's telling them, your judgment, you're going to die just like the humans. Right? So he's, verse 1, it says, Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh stands in the divine council. In the midst of the Elohim, he passes judgment. So we have Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, the Most High God, having divine counsel in the midst of other Elohim, and he's the one that passes judgment. If these other Elohim wasn't real, why would he be judging them? Why would he be standing in the middle of a council with them? He tells them, all of you are Elohim, sons of the Most High. And this goes back to the manuscripts, that the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Septuagint has it correct. It's talking about the angels who are the sons of God, who are the Elohim. Right? Psalms 89, 6 and 7. Who in the skies can compare to you, Adonai? Among the sons of God is like, who among the sons of God is like Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, greatly feared in the council of the holy ones. So this is another text that's talking about a divine council. People like to use this verse. Oh, said this is talking about humans. This council is happening in the skies. It says, who in the skies can compare to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh? Who among the sons of God is like Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, greatly feared in the council of the holy ones? So this is divine counsel that this text is telling us, that nobody in the divine council, nobody in the skies can compare to the Most High. Why? Because there's only one Most High God, and he rules all, and he passes judgment in the council of the Elohim. 1 Kings 22, it says, the prophet Micah sees Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh on his throne with all the host of heaven standing by him. One spirit volunteers to be a lying spirit in Ahab's prophets. So we see right here, the prophet sees in this vision Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh with all the host of heaven standing beside him on the left and on the right. And he starts to talk to them. Says, who's going to do this? Who's going to do this? This is a council that God is having amongst the sons of God. And we know that angels, that the word angel or malak is an office. The spirits come down as messengers. Right? So this is another text that points to a divine council where God is ruling, congregating, and passing judgment amongst heavenly beings. Now, if these weren't real, if these stuff wasn't real, why would the text be telling us God is having divine counsel with these beings? Because this is the host of heaven, right? The Tanakh occasionally shows God presiding over a council of heavenly beings. These sons of God are heavenly beings / angels through whom Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh governs. This is how God governs the earth. He split it up, 70 nations, and he put 70 divine beings over all nations. And he has counsel among them. And in Psalms 82, he's chastising them. He's chastising them for not, let's go read that real fast. In Psalms 82, let me go read that. We're going to go read Psalms 82 real fast. Because we're going to see how God is chastising his divine counsel for not ruling appropriately. Let's pull this up. Let's pull this up. Let's remove this. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. Let's read the Bible. So look what it says in Psalms 82. It says, a psalm of Asaph. God standeth in the congregation of God. In the midst of the judges. You see how they play with these translations? They change this to judges. Let's go to a different translation where it's going to be more honest about what this text says. Let's go to a literal translation. It says, a psalm of Asaph. God stood in the company of God. In the midst of God doeth he judge. Till when do ye judge perversely? In the face of the wicked lift up, Selah. Judge ye the weak and the fatherless, the afflicted and the poor. Declare righteousness. Let the weak and needy escape. From the hand of the wicked deliver them. They knew not, nor do they understand. In darkness they walk habitually. Moved are all the foundations in the earth. I have said, gods ye are, sons of the Most High, all of you. But as men ye shall die. As one of the heads ye shall fall. O rise, O God, and judge the earth, for thou hast inheritance among all nations. So this goes back to Deuteronomy, where he's chastising these Elohim, telling them, yo, judge righteously in the earth. You have inherited all nations. Judge righteously. And if you don't, you're going to die like men. So he chastises the sons of Elohim there. Right, so let's continue reading. Let's continue with this PowerPoint. Now, we have to understand this, right? Before we go to the next one. We have to understand, even though there are other divine beings, other Elohim that rule the nations, there's only one Most High God. There's only one God that deserves worship. Remember that. We have to remember that there's only one Most High, and there's only one God that deserves worship. And we're going to see right here. It says, Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh is Most High above all. So we're going to see the difference between Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh and the lesser Elohim that rules the nations on behalf of the Most High God. Psalm 7 and 17. I will give thanks to Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh according to his righteousness, and I will sing praise to the name of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh Most High. That's one. Let you know who is the Most High. And you got to think about when it says Most High, how can you be Most High if you're alone? To be Most High, you have to be higher than the others. Who are the others? The lesser Elohim, the 70 lesser Elohim. To be the Most High, there has to be something less. If I'm by myself, I can't say I'm the Most High. I'm the only one. Psalms 82, 6 and 8. I said, you are gods, sons of the Most High. So these other Elohim are sons of the Most High. The Most High is above all. We're going to beat that into your head because we're not going to leave here mistaking this for polytheism. Psalm 95 and 3. For Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh is great. Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh is a great God and a great king above all gods. So Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh is above all the Elohim. Is above all the Elohim. This text does not say there is no other Elohim. This text says there is no God like or equal to the Most High God. These other gods cannot be worshipped. These other gods cannot be glorified. These other Elohim are lesser, and all they do is rule the nations, and they're supposed to rule righteously as as God rules righteously. Psalm 94, 96 and 4. For great is Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. So over and over, it's going to tell you, Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh is the Most High God. He is to be feared above all other gods. He is above all other gods. These other gods are not on his level. They are not next to him. They're not in front of him. They're not by his side. He's above all. He's the top shotter. He's the one and true God. Psalms 97 and 9. For you, Adonai, are most high over all the earth. You are exalted far above all gods. So again, Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. We're gonna punch this in there. Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh is above all gods, all Elohim. He is the Most High. He's our God. Psalm 136 and 2. Give thanks to the God of gods. He is the God of all gods. Now, if there wasn't other gods, how can he say he is the God of all gods? When someone say I'm the Lord of Lords, that means they're the top Lord among all other lords. If someone say I'm the King of Kings, that means they're the top king among all kings. He is the God of God. He's the top God amongst all gods. For his steadfast love endures forever. Right? So our God is the Most High God. These other Elohims do not deserve any worship or praise. Our God is the creator God. He's the Most High God. He does everything through his will. We have to understand that. I'm gonna make sure as I'm doing this, nobody leaves here with any thought in their mind that these other Elohim deserve worship or these other Elohim are more important than they are. They're not. They're lesser Elohim. They do the will of the Most High. Only job they have is to rule the nations and report back to God, to the Most High God. All right, let's continue reading. Let me move this banner out the way. Right? So it says, henotheism versus monotheism versus polytheism versus monolatry. These are 4 distinct things that we should understand. And these are 2 of these things is what the Tanakh and our God shows, is what the children of Israel are. So monotheism, belief that only one God exists. All other so-called gods are false, non-existent, or man-made. That's monotheism. These other gods, they don't exist. They just man-made things, fragment of your imagination. That's what monotheism is. Example, later rabbinic Judaism. Now, when you get to rabbinic Judaism, when you get to later period, like we read about the text where it was changed from angels of God or sons of God to the sons of Israel, it's because they wanted to get away from henotheism and monolatry. They wanted to get away from that because they believed it leads to polytheism. So they said, "Nah, we are monotheism. All this stuff is fake. It's fake. This is monotheism, and there's nothing wrong. I want to say this too. There's nothing wrong with that stance because they want to make sure, like, yo, you don't get confused by these other gods and believe you should worship these other gods. So we're gonna make it perfectly safe. We're gonna make it perfectly safe and say, yo, monotheism, all this other stuff is fake. But again, even though I understand why they did it, we have to be honest with the text. So right, polytheism, belief in many gods, each with their own dominion/power. Ancient Greece, Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Christianity. Now, the polytheism, they believe in multiple gods and they worship multiple gods. That's what polytheism is. Right? So they have gods that rule the earth, rule the sea, rule the thunder, rule the weather, rule death, all these other gods that have their power and they worship all of them. So if they want rain to come, they'll worship the god of rain. If they want something about death, they'll worship the god of death. If they want the sea to stop, they'll worship the god of sea. That's polytheism, the worship of multiple gods that have dominion over different things. The Israelites are not polytheism. We have one God that rules everything. Henotheism, belief that there are many gods, but one supreme God is above all the rest. Right? So henotheism, like I just said, one supreme God. And he's above all the rest of gods. So the Tanakh teaches henotheism, that is one supreme God that is above all the rest of the gods. We just read that. We just read those texts over and over. There's one supreme God that rules over all the rest of the gods. Right. So the supreme God is most high, Deuteronomy 32, 8 and 9, while other gods rule nations. You acknowledge the reality of other divine beings, but only one is chief. Right now, henotheism can be similar to polytheism in some instance. Why do I say that? Because you can say, yo, this God is the most high God, and these gods are lesser gods, but you can still give glory and praise to the lesser gods in henotheism. You can say, yeah, this God is the most high God, but this God right here is a lesser God, but I'm still gonna worship both of them gods, but I'm gonna worship one more than the other. So that's why henotheism can be a little tricky. And this is why later rabbinical people wanted to get away from monotheism. Now, in the Tanakh, henotheism couples with monolatry. Right? Look what it says. Monolatryism. Belief that many gods exist, but only one God is worthy of worship. Only one God is worthy of worship. Right? So henotheism, belief in many gods, but one supreme God. That God is most high above all. Yes, that's what the Tanakh teaches. Also, the Tanakh teaches that there are many other gods, but only one God is worthy of worship. And this is what the Tanakh teaches. There is one supreme God above all gods, and there is one God that is worthy of worship. The Tanakh is not monotheism. Clearly, the Tanakh isn't monotheism. The Tanakh talks about a bunch of different gods. The Tanakh is henotheism and monolatryism. It doesn't deny the existence of others. It just restricts devotion to one. Example, Israel and the Torah. You shall have no other gods before me. Exodus 20:3 assumes others exist, but forbids worshiping them. So this is what the Tanakh and the Torah is. It's not monotheism. It's not polytheism. It is henotheism and monolatry. I'm just saying monolatry because that ism be messing me up on that word. Is henotheism and monolatry. That's what it is. Again, Genesis 10 lists 70 nations. Deuteronomy 32 and 8 explains that when the nations were divided, the Most High appointed rulers over them, 70 divine beings. This doesn't mean polytheism. I'm not teaching that all gods are equal. It's henotheism. Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, the Most High reigns above all. The other gods are real, but they are subordinate, judged by him in Psalms 82. Israel's portion is Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh himself. There's one divine, one supreme being, and there's one God that is worthy of worship. We're going to make that clear. I don't want nobody to leave here after watching this to feel like it's polytheism. But I also don't want nobody to feel like it's monotheism. Even though if you stood to say, yo, it's monotheism, I wouldn't argue. I said, cool. If that's going to help you not go away, if that's not going to help you not get off the path, because again, it can be easy for somebody to worship these Elohim. It can be easy if you're not founded in Torah and understand what henotheism and monolatry is. All right, so let's continue. I wanted to get that into your head though. All praise to the Most High, Rhonda in the building. Member only live. All praises. All right. We're gonna go to, after we just put it clearly in the text that this is henotheism and monolatry. Now we're gonna show you clear examples of these spiritual rulers, of these Elohim. Daniel chapter 10, verses 13, 20, and 21. The prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. Right, so you have the spiritual leader of the kingdom of Persia, and you have the spiritual leader of Israel being talked about in this text. And the one that's talking here is the spiritual leader, Gabriel. Right, so these are three angels. I'm not going to say angels. I'm going to say three B'nai Elohim. One that rules over Persia. Michael, who rules over Israel. And it says he is one of the chief princes. Michael is just one of them. And then we have Gabriel talking. If the understanding of the 70 nations being ruled by 70 divine beings is incorrect, we have to explain who are these divine beings that is prince over Persia. The next one. Now I will return to fight with the prince of Persia, and when I go out, behold, the prince of Greece will come. Who is these princes of Persia and Greece? And these are not humans. These, if we read the context of Daniel, these are B'nai Elohim. These are angels. Why are these angels, the divine being, being called the prince of Persia? Being called the prince of Greece? Why? We have to explain this. We have to explain this if someone disagrees with this worldview. What is this? All right. Here, princes equals spiritual rulers, being appointed over nation, the same sons of God category from Deuteronomy 32 and 8. Right, Daniel 10:21 and Daniel 12:1. Michael is called your prince, and the great prince who stands over the sons of your people. So Michael is our prince that rules over us. He's our protector, our angel. That's Michael. That's Michael. So somebody have to make this make sense to me. Who are these heavenly beings, these divine beings that rule in over Persia, Greece, and Israel? Who are they? Unlike other nations governed through intermediary beings, Israel's prince Michael acts directly under Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh's authority, protecting God's covenant people. Now, God is our king. Why is Michael called the prince? Because he's a son of God. Why are they called princes? Because God is the king and they're sons of God. This is why they're called princes. And we take this to the earthly realm. David, the kings, their children are called princes. In the heavenly realm, God is king, and his sons are called princes. This is why they're called the Prince of Persia, the Prince of Greece, the Prince of Israel. And we have two of these princes, the Prince of Persia and the Prince of Greece. They are fighting against Michael, our prince. They rebelled against God. This is why God in Psalm 82 are rebuking them. Like, yo, y'all not doing right. Just like the sons of God came down in Genesis and rebelled against God. Did something that God didn't want them to do, that God had to destroy and restart the earth. Just like us humans rebel against God. This is real. The princes of the nations, the same 70 rulers from Deuteronomy 32, spiritual warfare shapes earthly empires. This is a fact. Let's read. Deuteronomy 32:8-9. When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, he fixed the boundaries of the people according to the number of the sons of God. But Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh's portion is his people, Jacob, his allotted heritage. Right, so the sons of God, these are these princes we just talked about. These are these heavenly divine beings we just talked about. Now, Elyon, Most High, emphasizes Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh portion above all heavenly beings. The Tanakh acknowledges other Elohim / divine beings, angel, princes of nations, but always insists Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh is supreme, eternal, and the only creator. So let's not get that misunderstood. Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh is the supreme being, the only creator, the only God worthy of worship. Deuteronomy 10:7. For Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh is God. Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, your God, is God of gods and Lord of lords. He's God of God, right? Because there's multiple Elohim. Let me rephrase. Let me not put God of God. Let's do it with the Hebrew. Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh is Elohim of Elohims. There's multiple Elohims. Most High, he's Lord of lords. There are multiple lords. You have human lords, but he's the Lord of all lords. The great, mighty, and awesome God who shows no partiality and accepts no bribes. Again, I want to beat this to your head. Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh is the only God that's worthy of worship. Now, I want to show this, right? This is the Canaanite pantheon. This is the difference. Remember, I talked about the Canaanite pantheon earlier. In the Canaanite pantheon, you have El, the father of gods, head of the pantheon. And you have Asherah, the mother goddess, wife of El. So this is how the Canaanite pantheon looked. They understood there were 70 other gods. But the way they explained it in their theology, it was a father god and a mother god that had children, and these children were gods that ruled different things. This is polytheism. For example, you have Baal Hadad. He's a storm and fertility god. Often challenges El's authority. You have Anat, warrior goddess. Baal's sister and consort. You have Mot, death god, enemy of Baal. You have Yam, sea god, other enemy of Baal, and other minor deities served as patrons of cities, fertility, war, etc. So these gods in the Canaanite pantheon, they are distinct gods that rule the storms, fertility, all this other stuff. And they worship those different gods depending on what you want. If you wanted to have more children, you will worship the god of fertility. If you wanted to win in battle, you will worship the warrior god. If you wanted to control the sea, you will worship Yam. If you wanted to do something with death, you will worship Mot. These are these polytheistic worldviews. So their pantheon is polytheistic. Polytheistic. You have a mother god, a father god. They have whatever they did, and they have their sons. This is polytheism because all these gods were worshipped. And we see in the Tanakh, the Israelites got into this. You have them worshiping the queen of heaven, which is Asherah. You have them doing the Asherah pose and the Asherah grooves that God tells them to break down and destroy, and don't worship them. You have them worshiping Baal because they went after these other gods. And the Canaanite thought El and Asherah are divine parents with the family of gods below them. That's the Canaanite pantheon. Now, this is the worldview of Israel. Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh Elyon, Most High God, absolute ruler, eternal. There's no mother God. There's no two gods that combined and created 70 gods. When we read Genesis 1, men are made in the image of Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, both masculine and feminine, both male and female. Our God doesn't, even though in the Tanakh, when you read he, our God doesn't really have a gender. When we read Genesis, well, let's go read that real fast. Let's go read that real fast. Canaanites, they have two gods, a mother God and a father God. Look what it says. Let's go to Genesis 1. I want to read this, which I'm sure you guys already know it, but I just want to read it just for the heck of it. Right, so Genesis 1, it says, verse 26, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all, let me put this over here so you can see me, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. And God created man, this is talking about human. God created human in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. So both male and female are in the image of God. Both. So the image of God is both male and female. And how we get some more understanding of this. Genesis 5. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God, he made him. Male and female, he created them and blessed them and called their name Adam. So both male and female are called Adam, are called mankind. So the image of Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh is both male and female. It's both feminine and masculine. Right? So when we go back to this, when we go to the Canaanite view and they have this two gods, one male God and one feminine God, that is not the God of Tanakh. The God of Tanakh makes man in his own, and we say his whatever reason because we humans and we always say he, right? You could blame that on whatever reason, what's that? A patriarchy, whatever. But our God image is both male and female, both masculine and feminine, both. That's why man, Adam, is made male and female. That's why mankind is called Adam. Yes, you have the man literally that he got the name Adam, and you got the woman, her name was Eve. But as a creation, as humankind is Adam. I hope that makes sense. Right. So Elyon, the Most High, is the absolute ruler. And the 70 sons of God, B'nai Elohim, are divine beings, messengers under Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh's command. That's the difference. In the Canaanite pantheon, these are gods that have their own rule over the sea, over the fraternity, over war, over whatever. They have their own rule, and they fight against, each other, their father, and whatever. In the Israelites, they don't have absolute rule. Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh has absolute rule. They work under his command. And you could either follow his command or you could go against his command. And when you go against his command, you're going to get BTA. So it's no polytheism in this worldview. This is henotheism / monolatry. Example: Michael, Gabriel, princes of nations, and Daniel. Heavenly beings represent specific nations under Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh rule. Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh is unchallenged, supreme over all beings, eternal and just. Other Elohim may rebel, but they are judged by him. Just like the children of Israel may rebel, but we are judged by him. This is the difference. That is the clear difference, right? So again, Canaanite pantheon. You have El and Asherah, mother and father God. They have 70 sons that have their rule over storm, fertility, all that stuff, and they all get worship. That's polytheism. The Israelite worldview, there's one supreme being and one supreme being that gets worship, and he has 70 sons, B'nai Elohim, that work under his command. This is monotheism, also monolatry. So it's clear. So before we leave here, we're not going to be confused about what the children of Israel are. The children of Israel, all through the Tanakh, are not, well, they're not supposed to be polytheism, even though they went off and started worshiping like the Canaanites and started worshiping these other gods they're not supposed to worship. Right? So we must understand the nations around Israel, the nations around Israel believed in a pantheon of gods: El, Asherah, Baal, Yam, and Mot. Children locked in rivalry and chaos. But the Torah reveals a different picture. There is only one Most High, Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, who sits above every ruler, power, and so-called God. The 70 nations may have their own heavenly princes, but Israel's portion is Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh himself. That is the wisdom for us today. Not to chase after the strange gods of culture, ideology, or desire, but to cling to the rock who made us, the God who rules over all creation. For the gods of the nations are idols, but Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh made the heavens. That is why our loyalty and our worship and our obedience belongs to him alone. Now let's explain that. The other gods being idols. So I know this is one of the main arguments that people like to use. They're idols. Yes, they are idols. Just like the nation of Israel made Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh idol. In the situation with the golden calf, they made a work of their hands, a golden calf, and called that Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh to represent a heavenly supreme God that did wonders and miracles for them. So they themselves turned Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh into an idol. So when the Most High is condemning idols, talking about the works of their hands, that is the idol that represents the being. So let's, for example, the Prince of Persia that we talked about in Daniel. They would make idols to represent that and worship that when they're not supposed to. And they would call it this God name, this guy name. They would call it Baal. They would call it this. They would worship that when they're not supposed to worship that. Even with the Asherah pose. They will make these idols in representation of these deities. And that is the idols. The idols is the handcrafted symbol of the deity. This is why God told us, do not make those idols. Do not make idols of none of the host of heaven. You're not supposed to make the idols. You're not supposed to worship these things. The only thing that gets worship is the supreme deity. And that's what people did. They created idols. And they worship these gods. So we have to understand that we are not to get into idolatry. We are not supposed to worship anything outside of Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. These other divine beings, they are rulers that rule the earth on command from God. And when those rulers aren't ruling like they're supposed to, God judges them. When they come down and mix with the the daughters of men, God punishes them. Right. So this is what this is talking about. Right. So we're going to go through it one more time, just briefly. And if anybody have a question or comment, put it in the chat. Because we almost at an hour. Y'all know I like to keep it under an hour. I like to keep it at an hour. So if you have any questions about anything I just brought out, put it in the chat. All right. So quick review. The divine council, the 70 nations, the 70 rulers of the nations. You have 70 nations, 70 sons of God that rule over them. In Genesis 10, on the table of nations, there are 70 nations. This is where the idea comes from that there are 70 divine beings that rule over the 70 nations. 70 nations, 70 divine beings. That's where the number 70 comes from. Deuteronomy 32 talks about how Elyon separated the nations and he took Israel as his portion, as his inheritance. You have 3 different manuscript families. That one, the Masoretic text says sons of Israel. The Septuagint says angels of God. The Dead Sea Scrolls says sons of God. The reason why we understand that the correct reading should be sons of God or angels of God is because 1, Israel wasn't even a nation in Genesis 10. And 2, Israel was only 12 peoples. There are 70 nations. So it can't be divided among the children of Israel because there's only 12 of tribes of the children of Israel. They're not 70. Right? So that's how we know that is not the correct reading. And scholars say the reason why this was changed is because they didn't want the children of Israel to misunderstandly, or they didn't want monotheism. They didn't want henotheism or monolatry to get misunderstood as polytheism. So they try to get further away from that. Right, the divine council. All through the text, we have imagery of God sitting in a council of other divine heavenly beings, having conversation, having judgment, discussing things. Right, Psalms 81, God is standing in the midst of other Elohim. Psalm 89, God is saying no one in the heavens or in the skies among the sons of God compared to him, or in the council of the holy ones compared to him. 1 Kings 22, you have God sitting, and it's described that there are the host of heaven on the left and to the right of him, and he's talking to them saying, who's going to go out and do this? Right, so we have imagery of divine counsel in the Tanakh. But we have to understand that the Most High is the Most High. Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh is the Most High above all. No other Elohim is on his level. They are all lesser Elohim that follow his command. Right, so we have a bunch of text that lets you know who the Most High is. And you can't be Most High if you're yourself. You're Most High because you're above others. And then we went to the difference between henotheism, monotheism, polytheism, and monolatrism. I showed that the Tanakh is clearly henotheism and monolatry. Henotheism is the belief that there is one supreme being above all the rest of the beings. You don't deny the existing of other Elohim. You just know there's one supreme being that rules above all the other beings. Monolatry is to understand that other gods exist, but only one God deserves worship or is worthy of worship. And this is clearly what the Tanakh teaches. We went through clear examples of spiritual rulers. We went to Daniel, where you have the prince of Persia, the prince of Greece. And we also have Michael, who is the prince of Israel. And we also have Gabriel. And you have this warfare going on with these divine beings. These princes of the nations are some of the 70 rulers that was placed in charge over the nations. Here you see Persia's, Greece, and Israel's ruler over their nation. We went through Deuteronomy, where we showed again that God, Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, is God of God. If you're God of God, that means you're the top God above all the other gods. This is not saying those gods don't exist. It's just saying God, Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, is the top God. That's henotheism. All right, it's also telling you that the Most High is the creator God. He's the one that gave out inheritance. He's the top God. Right? Clear henotheism. And then we went through the Canaanite pantheon to show you the difference between the Canaanite pantheon, which they believed in the 70 sons of God, but they had two deities, a mother god and a father god, and they had a bunch of other gods that they all worship for different reasons. That is polytheism. This is not what the children of Israel do. This is an example of polytheism. So we don't do that. Then we went to what the Israelites believe. One supreme being that rules over 70 beings that work on his command. These 70 beings do not get praise or worship. These 70 beings are just under God's command. There's one supreme being. This is monolatry. This is henotheism. All right, and then I'll end it off with understanding that there is one God above all, the one supreme being that deserves all worship. But we have to understand that these other gods are lesser gods that the nations idolize and worship. All right, so that is the end of this lecture. The Divine Council, the 70 rulers of the nations. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm at 1 hour and 3 minutes. I kept it short so you can get right into it and dive into it. If you have any questions, the members are here. If any of the members have questions, let me know. If not, we're about to just end it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is for the members only live today. Members only. I've been telling you guys I was going to put a new video in here, so I just wanted to give you guys this video. All praise to the Most High. Again, any questions, feel free. Even if you want to challenge it, feel free. Maybe we can go into Discord and we can talk on the Discord. But shalom, happy Shabbat, shalom, Lila Tov, not Lila Tov. I'm saying Lila Tov. It's not even that. I'm used to getting off at Torah after dark. Man, but definitely, I'm about to get off. So I'll keep this video nice and short. But shalom, Shabbat shalom, man. I'll catch you guys later. Ladonna, all praise to the Most High alone. That is a fact. Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh is Most High above all. Remember that. Remember that. We ain't confused about what we do. All right. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Thank you, Gadar. Thank you guys as well, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions, man, feel free to hit me up. If you want this presentation, hit me up, email it. I'll send it to you guys. I'll email it to you guys. So let me know. Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom. I'll catch you guys later for Torah After Dark, Night 7. All right, let me remove this because I don't want this to play at the end of the video. All right, boom.